Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Explore and Engage with Anam. The state of New York is very busy trying to come up with ways to give money to the migrants. And I'm talking about cash payments, direct payments. And you may be asking, how many migrants are we talking about? Well, let me tell you, it's not 10 people. It's not a few dozen people. It's not a few hundred people. The state of New York is coming up with new ways to give more money to thousands of migrants who don't qualify for the state's welfare program. And Democrats, you know what they do. You know what they're good at. The Democrats are good at changing the rules to meet the goals that they set. They change the rules to achieve the outcomes that they want. That's what the Democrats do. They change the rules to fulfill their objectives. And that's exactly what's happening in New York State right now. In this case, the Democrats in New York, they want to take dollars from the pockets of American taxpayers and they want to give those dollars to the migrants. Tax dollars being given to the migrants. That's what's going on. And so Governor Kathy Hochul's administration changed the eligibility rules for the Safety Net Assistance Program. The administration changed the rules. And so, because of the change in rules, non-citizens who have pending application for asylum will receive benefits, taxpayer-funded benefits. And this means the migrants in New York will now receive cash payments. In fact, as I said, thousands of migrants are now eligible for these payments. Thousands? How many thousands are we talking about? That would be a natural question to ask. If you're wondering, how many thousands are we talking about? 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000? Well, the number that has been reported is 17,000. The number of non-citizens who could end up getting this safety net assistance payment could exceed 17,000. The agency in New York State that is relevant to this discussion is the Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance. That's the agency that changed the safety net program's eligibility rules to include non-citizens with pending applications for asylum. In short, migrants may now get welfare benefits in New York, cash payments. In short, that's what's happening. Change in rules, Kathy Hochul administration changing rules, so migrants may now get welfare benefits. My friends, this is a program for U.S. citizens. Americans living in New York with financial need, they are supposed to be getting these benefits. People who qualify for this program get payments to help with rent and utility cost, etc. And this is intended for U.S. citizens. But the state of New York has changed rules to make non-citizens, the migrants, eligible for these benefits. Now, this is not the first time that liberals in New York have come up with ways to provide direct money to the migrants. This is not the first time. Remember that Mayor Eric Adams started a pilot program to provide migrant families with prepaid cards so that they can buy food and baby supplies. Remember that? And I had talked about how the Eric Adams administration is going to enforce this. How will the administration make sure that the money is being spent on food and baby supplies? I raised that question. So now you've got the state of New York changing eligibility rules to try to provide taxpayer-funded safety net assistance to the migrants. When I see this, the conclusion that I draw is the following. People are getting rewarded for crossing the southern border. That's what's happening. The migrants who have entered the United States by crossing the southern border, they are getting rewarded with taxpayer dollars, taxpayer-funded benefits. And you know what that does? That would attract more migrants to New York. The crisis in New York will get worse. My friends, let me tell you, the needs among American citizens in New York did not decrease. For the last few years, people have been facing lots of economic challenges, and those challenges continue. The financial problems continue. And American citizens in New York are also suffering. They are also suffering because of economic instability. Because of inflation and other economic problems, there are many US citizens in need and who continue to be in need of help. Americans need help with housing, food, medical services, etc. And what are the liberal politicians in New York doing? They are giving more and more benefits to the migrants. The people of America must reject such liberal ideas and proposals and actions. The Americans living in New York must reject the actions of the liberal politicians in that state. My friends, the liberal politicians just continue to spend more and more money on the migrants. When will this end? When will the liberals start prioritizing the American people? What about the homeless Americans in New York? I don't hear about any new programs to help them. What are the politicians in New York not worried about the homeless American citizens? Reportedly, as I said, more than 17,000 non-citizens will get these benefits because of the Kathy Hochul administration changing the eligibility rules. My friends, the American people want to see policymakers prioritizing American citizens, and the liberals are busy prioritizing the migrants. Now, do you want to know some shocking numbers? Let me just give you some more shocking numbers here, okay? Reportedly, according to Mayor Eric Adams, it will cost New York City a massive sum of $10.6 billion, billion with a B, $10.6 billion to deal with the migrant surge through June of 2026. June of 2026. We are now in the first quarter of 2024. This is still the month of February of the year 2024. And Mayor Eric Adams is saying that through June of 2026, the migrant surge will cost New York City $10.6 billion. And that's just New York City alone. Mayor Eric Adams is not talking about Chicago. He's not talking about Denver. He is saying that through June of 2026, dealing with the migrant surge will cost the city $10.6 billion. He's not talking about Chicago. He's not talking about Denver. He's not talking about San Francisco. It's just New York City alone. So it seems that this crisis will continue to hurt American citizens financially. The crisis is ongoing. The border is still wide open, and people are continuing to pour into the United States through the southern border. And you know what? The more benefits, the more taxpayer-funded benefits the liberal politicians provide to the migrants, the more people will keep coming into the United States through the southern border. These taxpayer-funded benefits are enticing more and more migrants into the United States. Our tax dollars are being used to pay for benefits for the migrants. How long will this go on? My friends, as I've said before, I'll say it again, we must secure the southern border. We must secure the southern border, and we must stop the influx of illegal immigrants. Thank you for continuing to listen to my podcast. Please don't forget to visit my website, tausifanam.net. You can also find me on social media. I am on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. You can send me a message. You can email me. My email address is tausif@tausifanam.net. Once again, thank you for continuing to listen to my podcast, and I hope to be back again soon with a new episode of Explore and Engage with Anam.